And it behooves the government or whoever the fuck is out there to listen to what I say. When I say there is a national security threat, you immediately take me seriously and investigate that shit. I'm doing a live show, and for whatever reason, the topic just happened to be Godzilla because this guy had put out a meme saying, "Oh yeah, man, what's next, Godzilla?" He put out a meme, because we had, there was talk in the media about hornets, deadly hornets and killer ants and all this stuff, and we was talking about all that shit, about all these evil things that's supposed to befall us. And this guy puts out a meme. He says, "Well, fuck me. I mean, with all this death and shit going around, what's next, Godzilla?" And he meant it as a joke. It was a meme. It was supposed to have been a joke, right? Okay, so fast forward. I'm doing a live show and I'm researching, and bam, what do I find? I find that China has this humongous fucking lizard under the ground trapped, and the Chinese people are wanting to keep the damn thing as a pet. Like, we want to keep it as a pet. We want to, let it out. Let it roam the Chinese countryside. And they're like, "Fuck no, are you crazy?" And but they wanted to keep it. The Chinese people wanted to keep it as pet, and Chinese government's like, "No, fuck that. No, fuck that shit." And this thing's sitting there growling under the earth. It's like, they're like, "No, we're getting rid of this motherfucker." And so they're able to blast out the side of under the water, blast out a side of the land there, so they can escape. And so it escapes out from underneath, under the land. It gets out into the ocean. And so I said, "Well, wait a minute. If they release that motherfucker, it's bound to be heading our way, right? I mean, common sense, because China's over here, we're over here." And so I go on Google Earth. Now, I wasn't necessarily expecting to see anything, because a lot of this shit ends up being bullshit stories. You know that as well as I do. Unfortunately, this one was real, because as soon as I get on Google Earth, here's this long, slender object in the shape of a giant lizard. I mean, what do you call Godzilla? What do you call a 50-foot lizard? Godzilla? I mean, that's what I called the motherfucker. So anyway, but it's a humongous fucking lizard. And I'm looking at this thing, and so I refresh Google, and it got closer. I refresh Google again, it got closer, and I'm like, guys, guys, hey guys, and I'm refreshing Google, and that fucking son bitch, boop, 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 it's getting closer and closer and closer, and I'm like, guys, I'm live, folks, I'm doing a live show, right? I'm live, and I'm sitting there like, guys, hey, hello, there's an object heading our way, it's fucking huge. Now, could it have been what they call a megalodon, which is a very, 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 very large shark? Yes, it could have been. However, the fact that it's timed perfectly with this news article in China about the release of this giant lizard that was under the ground, I'm kind of ruling the megalodon thing out. But anyway, it was a huge motherfucking object, and it's heading straight for California. And I'm live. I'm literally doing a live show, and I'm like, guys, and I'm pointing at Google Earth, and this thing is getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer, and then it gets about, I don't know, maybe 20 miles, 30 miles, 40 miles away from shore, and then the next thing I know, I Google, or I refresh Google Earth, it's gone. Poof, gone. So they took it out, man. They took that fucker out. Good for them. And I got another story for you. There was allegedly a camera set up, a listening post on the dark side of the moon. Oh, Vaughn, now I know you're talking crazy talk. No, hang on. And we talked about that for weeks. We talked about that for a long time. How there was a listening post on the dark side of the moon. I mean, what better place to put it, right? Because nobody's going to see the motherfucker because the moon don't rotate. All you see is the shiny face. You never see the dark side of the moon, ever. Okay? So what a better place to put it, right? So I'm like, and admittedly, I was like, it's not a confirmed story, but there's a story out there, more and more credibility is coming that, hey, there's a listening post on the dark side of the fucking moon. And so time passes. All of a sudden, I hear about this launch of some kind of rocket, and unlike the usual, it was really interesting because usually when they launch a rocket, it goes in this nice big wide arc and it just plunges into the sea. We don't see it where it plunges into the sea, of course. We just see this nice, beautiful long arc. This motherfucker didn't. This motherfucker straight the fuck up. All right, and I'm like, that's different. This motherfucker shoots straight the fuck up. And the next thing we know, the next thing we hear about, boom, big ass fucking explosion. And it's like, holy shit, what the fuck just happened? We literally nuked the dark side of the moon. I mean, we flattened the shit out of that motherfucker. Now, why would we nuke the moon? Why would we do that? Especially the dark side of the moon? I'll tell you. They checked out my story. Oh, that crazy Von Helton. We'll see. We're going to see if there really is a listening post on the dark side of the moon. They checked that shit out. Turned out it was true, and they nuked the fuck out of that sumbitch. Yes, they did. The newspapers, I think it was Japanese news especially. They said the motherfucker rang like a bell. We hit the damn thing so hard it rang like a bell. And it's like, holy shit. So yeah,